Welcome to the 2020 GE Lighting, a Savant Company Holiday Lighting Special. This is the 96th year that we'll be lighting Nela Park. My name is Ben Sable. I am the Director of Communications here at GE Lighting, a Savant Company. Together, we're about to embark on a journey to give you a behind-the-scenes look inside the park, learn a little bit more about the construction and design of the lighting display, and also take a look at national Christmas tree designs of years past. All of this will culminate with remarks from our President and CEO, Bill Lacey, in the annual flipping of the switch. In 1913, Nela became the world's first industrial park. Its architecture has stood the test of time. Yet there's another feature within the park that is just as amazing, and that is its trees. My old friend, Colby Sattler, recently joined me to talk trees and a little bit more about these amazing wonders of nature and some of the special trees that we have here in the park. Behind me stands a European beech tree, just one of the more than 50 different species of trees we have over the 92 acres that comprise Nela Park. I'm excited to be talking to my old friend and tree expert, Colby Sattler, about the different types of species we have here on campus and learn a little bit more about their history. Let's go take a walk and see what he's up to. Hey Colby, I knew I would find you over here in front of this iconic tree in front of buildings 331 and 309. We call this our upside down tree. Please help correct us and figure out what kind of species of tree this is and a little bit more about it.
The upside down tree. This is a wonderful specimen. This is a European weeping beech. Having kind of crawled underneath, given it a quick inspection, I can tell it's weathered a few storms, but we can also see that it's put on some great new growth. So given its age and its condition, we couldn't really be happier with the state it's currently in. In fact, I'd venture to say if this was part of an arboretum's collection, it would be a true focal point. So just a true gem here.
We've taken a few steps away and we've arrived in front of this tree, which isn't as big as some of the more majestic trees we have here within the park, but is unique and special in its own way. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Unique's the key word. So this is a native river birch. When we first came upon it, I actually struggled to properly ID it because I've actually never seen one this size. But then we get to that telltale, multicolored, exfoliating bark, which really gives it away. Just a wonderful specimen on campus here. We got a handful of them. Truly just a splendid tree.
We're still in the same location. We've taken just a few steps away from the last tree where we learned that you can't necessarily judge the age of a tree by its size. So could you tell us a little bit about what this tree is and how old it might be?
Sure, great question. So what we have here are Coosa dogwood, and although much smaller than the river birch we just looked at, planted at roughly the same time. So it's clearly part of a purposeful planting, but we can tell from species to species the different types of growth characteristics. So it's kind of a unique juxtaposition. And for the work that's been done on it and the different characteristics we see about this tree, we know that it's been through some battles as well, but they're still here, still doing all right. And in spring, when these get their beautiful white flowers, it's truly a treasure.
Awesome. Before we head over to another part of the park where we have some of our largest trees, can you talk a little bit about the benefits that trees provide us as humans and the environment as well?
It's a really critically important question, especially in Northeast Ohio, where we've seen our tree canopy countywide really start to fall. And that has a lot of negative impacts on our ecosystem, on us as humans. We know that when we have a robust tree canopy and our cities and communities are lined with trees, our health benefits, the benefits to the community grow and expand. And that's something we want to ensure going forward. So when we have a beautiful tree-lined campus here, what we know is the ability for people to take a walk or see the trees out their office window can help lower their blood pressure, can help calm them, makes them more productive. So when we think about that on a corporate campus, when we think about that on a school campus, those tangible benefits it provides people, we really need to start focusing on those important characteristics and qualities of trees. Even for folks in a hospital stay, their access to trees and green space can help shorten that stay and improve their recovery time. Everything from improved crime and safety statistics to those really critically important health and wellness benefits that trees provide. It's newer science, but we're starting to have a better understanding of it. So Nela Park truly is a shining example of how things could and should be when it comes to tree canopy.
Colby, we're in the Nela Camp section within Nela Park. This is a virtual arboretum of trees back here. This particular one is very interesting because it's got a unique aesthetic to it. What kind of tree is this, and how old do you think it might be?
Great question. You've got a ton of huge trees back here. Your collection of oaks is amazing. So you've got gigantic pin oaks, red oaks, black oaks, white oaks, chinkapin oaks. So you really run the gamut, really emblematic of the great forest ecosystem of this region. And something this large, I'd say we're easily over 200 years old.
And I mentioned the aesthetic because it's got this really cool twisting kind of effect going on here with these tremendously large branches. And it just seems to be flourishing. Why is it that the trees back here seem to flourish more than some of the trees on the outskirts of campus where they're bunched together?
Yeah, great insight. So a variety of factors. So these trees kind of growing out in this field, there's less competition for resources, for light, for water, nice soils. So it really has a chance to grow really wide as well as tall versus some of those on the outskirts or in a more forested area. When you see this twisting effect, you know, a variety of things could be implementing that effect, but we're also right at the top of a really large plateau. So we've got a lot of wind pushing its way up here. So over time, that twisting and turning and pushing, that force of the wind has really created this unique look of this tree. So besides just being big, it's just really cool to look at.
Colby, we're still here in Nela Camp. And the last time we walked the park, you knew right away as we were walking up to this tree that it was something special. The first thing I noticed was that it was absolutely majestic and giant tree. But you're able to share some more information with us that will show that this is an absolute true gem that we have here on campus.
That's right, Ben. And so the first thing we noticed, there used to be a plaque on this tree, and the grounds folks here actually saved it. So what we know for sure now is that this was and is a Moses Cleveland tree. So known to be in existence at the founding of Cleveland in 1796. And I venture to say something this large was thriving at that point in time as well. But just a crown jewel of the trees here on campus and really without compare regionally. So just an amazing oak, a great place to kind of bring this tour to conclusion. But digging a little deeper, we know there's a lot that isn't known about this tree. Roughly 150 were cataloged throughout the region, and really not many are still in existence. So we're gonna do a little more research. We're gonna find out everything we can about this, take some measurements, and get some information back over to you folks so you can really begin to celebrate this crown jewel.
Thank you so much, Colby. I have gotten excited about trees as we've gone through the park and have talked about them. I can't wait to see what you uncover about this tree and then be able to share it with the rest of the organization. Thanks, Colby, for coming out and talking trees. It's been absolutely fascinating.
And thank you, Ben, and the opportunity to be here at Nela Park talking trees. What a treat. It's my pleasure. So excited to be back here with you soon.
I truly hope you enjoyed that walkabout with Colby. Our grounds crew here in the park does an amazing job of taking care of our trees and keeping them healthy. And Colby does an awesome job of giving us a historical perspective on the incredible trees that we have here. I am standing now next to someone who is incredibly special when it comes to our Christmas lights displays. This is Debbie George. She has been designing our display for the past 18 years. And Debbie, I have to ask you, how do you continually get inspiration for new designs year after year?
That's the fun part. In fact, we started last year at setup time talking about what we're going to do this year, and we've started hinting to ourselves what we're going to do for next year. The colors of the lights have gotten brighter and prettier, and there's new products that we get to use, which is fun. And sometimes we'll expand upon a display that we've done in the past. Sometimes we'll look in the archive files and see what's something that they did years ago and say, hey, we can do that bigger and better.
Now there's a lot of folks that are involved in the process. I know you work very closely with the facilities team. They do an awesome job of bringing your designs to life. They make everything by hand. How long does this process take from beginning to implementation?
I start designing in February and March, and we order our lights in April, May, June. I start talking to our team. We start throwing some ideas out here and there. They get involved, which is fabulous. And then we start really installing end of August, Labor Day, right up until light up.
And how many Energy Star bulbs do we typically feature each year in the display?
We have at least 500,000 LED lights in our display, probably more.
Now you had mentioned that sometimes you go back into the archives for inspiration. Would it be possible to take a look at some of those archives, whether it be paperwork or actual display pieces that were used?
For sure, let's go. We have an archive room that has all the old files and
Awesome.
some of the old displays.
Let's do it.
Great.
We're in the basement of one of Nela Park's historic buildings. Next to me sits what looks like an ordinary cabinet, but I like to call it a treasure trove of Christmas design archives of years past. And as I open it, I can see records and photos of all the designs that have been on display at Nela Park over the last 96 years. And there's a couple things that jump out to me in these files. One is that the folders marked from the 40s are actually empty because of World War II. The other thing, the first thing I looked for, was the oldest record I could find. And that's actually right here, as you can see. It's labeled 1925. What I'd like to do is go and talk to Debbie George about this so she can give us a little bit more insight as to what's in this folder. Debbie, thanks so much for bringing me over here. I've been downstairs in the basement going through some files, found this one from 1925. It's the oldest one that we have in our records. I'd love to get your take on what's in here.
Sure, let me see.
All right. Looks like we have some sort of written record here.
That's exactly what this is. It's from 1925, and it was showing the theme, Yuletide greetings, and it was showing that it did go to a committee because it was saying unanimously approved. What is very interesting, it's also talking about the displays that they used and that they had stars and festoons and floodlighting. And interesting because it talks about the location. The location of the display, let me see, the other pictures are in there. This actually was building 307, which was the lodge. So what you would do is, I actually have the map right here, because I was working on some things. You would drive in, the front gates were on Terrace Road, so you enter off of Terrace Road, and people would drive their cars through the gates and travel along, and then this photograph was building 307, which would have been right here. And then what you are seeing is the gates of the lodge, which are beautiful and ornate,
Right.
and the back of building 307, which was the focal point of the display, and it gave the theme, Yuletide Greetings, which you saw on the onion paper.
Yes. Right.
This was actually another area of the display, very simple, but it was telling you, welcome to Nela Park, this is the Christmas display,
Yep.
and very simple compared to what we have going now, but it's so nice that we're continuing that kind of tradition.
Yeah, these pictures are awesome, and I believe we actually have some pieces of displays from years past. I realize they probably don't go back to
They don't go back to
1920s, but would it be possible for us to go over and take a look at those?
Sure, let's go over to the warehouse.
Okay. This is where the magic happens, where our facilities team builds the Nela displays by hand and where old pieces are stored to potentially get used again. This is also the place where we store national Christmas tree designs that have been used in the past. Debbie, as you know, we've been sponsoring the National Christmas Tree at the White House for a very, very long time. And you have been the designer of that tree for the last 12 years. What has that experience been like for you?
I feel very fortunate to have been the designer for all those years. I followed in many people's footsteps, learned a lot along the way, and it's just a wonderful feeling when you see that tree light up and you see families take their holiday photo in front of it and you knew that I was a little part of that.
You must have a lot of really great memories.
I definitely have some great
from
memories.
those years, for sure. So in front of us, we have some relics of national Christmas trees past. So can you tell us a little bit about these and their history?
Definitely. These are some national tree toppers, which would be like the star on the top of your tree. We have some that have gone back from the mid-90s to about 2001. This one here was 2003, and what we would have done, we coordinated the lights, the ornamentation, and the topper. All were the same theme. So here, this would have been a snowflake theme. When we went to LED, which was 12 years ago, we constructed an heirloom topper, is what we called it, which was totally LED, and that topper had stayed on the tree for all these years. Just last year, they planted a new tree on the ellipse at the White House, which caused us to make a new tree topper, for this new tree. It's a 3D tree topper with a new form of LED inside.
Great history. And you also brought something else up that many people don't know, is that the National Christmas Tree is a real tree. So thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to see your Nela Park design come to life.
Me too.
I'm here on the second floor of the Lighting Institute, where the view of Nela Park behind me looks so beautiful and surreal you might think it's fake or photoshopped, but it's not. It's actually the first winter snowstorm of December. To prove it, I've made the perfect snowball. In our last segment, we talked to Debbie about how we design and light the National Christmas Tree. For 57 years, GE Lighting, as part of the General Electric Company, designed and lit the tree. This year is a special year for two reasons. First, it's the 58th year that we will be designing and lighting the tree. But it's the first year that we'll be doing it as part of Savant Systems, as GE Lighting, a Savant Company. This year's patriotic design includes red, white, and blue opaque lights and a larger traditional style LED light bulb strung naturally around the tree, resulting in a simple yet classic design that lets the natural beauty of the tree shine through. The topper is a dazzling six-sided, handcrafted 3D gold star featuring LED tape lighting. No sneak peek into Nela Park would be complete without a visit to our museum. In this building lies the history of light, with artifacts dating back as early as 1000 BC to innovations, light bulbs, photographs, tools, and information that have existed over the last 100 plus years. I hope you have enjoyed our journey together thus far, learning about Nela Park, our annual lighting display, as well as the National Christmas Tree. And now for the big moment. Over to you, Bill.
Hey Ben, thanks a lot, and welcome everyone to this winter wonderland. We want to welcome you to the annual Nela Park lighting event. This is we have done this for 95 years as a part of the General Electric Company. And this year, year 96, we are now doing it as GE Lighting, a Savant Company. So I want to first of all thank Bob Madonna, thank the Savant team along with Race Point for welcoming us into the family, and we hope you guys enjoy this spectacle. As in many things in 2020, we're having to do this a little differently, of course. And the team, because they had to, came and said, hey Bill, are we going to do the lighting ceremony? And without a blink, absolutely. This is a time we need the lighting ceremony more than any. We need events and activities that tend to bring everyone together. The only argument that you hear amongst people about the lighting event is what lighting scene did you like the best? But we knew we weren't going to be able to have the big party where we typically have hundreds of people, employees, family members, and community representatives come and drink hot chocolate, play games, even sit on good old St. Nick's lap. But we decided, let's send the party home with our employees. So our employees at GE Lighting, a Savant Company, received a box with chocolate, hot chocolate, with games and noisemakers. We also said, you know what? Instead of just inviting the employees and a few community representatives, let's invite everyone we can. So I want to welcome our retailers. I want to welcome our vendors. We want to welcome Northeast Ohio, and dare I say the world, as we have invited our GE Lighting Savant team members from Shanghai to participate with us. So again, it's different, but in a lot of ways it's better than it has been ever before. I also wanted to do it, I'll tell you a little secret, because I wanted it done. The 9 years I've been here, for this period of time I pull out of the park, take a left on Noble as I'm heading home, and following the regulated 25 miles per hour speed limit, I look over at the lights and it never fails. I am just enjoying it, and eventually in my head I hear the Temptations singing Silent Night in the words, all is calm, all is bright. And I think that is a great thing to have come to mind in times like this. And this display does not disappoint. We have yet another fantastic design by Debbie George, and I want to thank her again. We have 8 beautiful scenes that represent over 500,000 bright, colorful, energy-efficient LED light bulbs. And the theme of this year is merry and bright. I think another, who doesn't need a little merriment, brightness, refreshing, and I think it's just a great kind of a theme for this year. Now these 500,000 lights, they didn't just pop up by magical elves, but we did have some of the Santa helpers, AKA our facilities team, who always does a fantastic job throughout the year, throughout the months of getting this set up. And again, thank you guys so much for getting this together. So again, we just want to thank everyone for coming out today. We want to thank the community for continuing to support this. We want to say, employees, Enjoy your time together with your family. And let's get to what we're all here for, and that is the lighting of Nela Park for the 96th year. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1.
Thank you so much for joining us for this first ever Nela Park Holiday Special. If you're in Northeast Ohio, be sure to bring the family to see the lights while driving by or on foot. It runs through January 4th. From all of us to all of you, we wish you a good night and a merry and bright holiday season.